Good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking time to view my video on our first discussion. We're talking about main craft elements of writing. Coming to you from Denton, Texas. It's a balmy 108 degrees right now at 8 o'clock at night. Actually 8:45, so hopefully it's cooler where you are. When we're talking about craft elements, this guide from SNHU has been really helpful for me. Talking about action and archetypes. Actually, the archetypes are, to me, I think, really important because I think it kind of defines your story. The example in here was Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. I don't need to go into who he is because I think everybody that has actually ever even seen any type of science fiction knows who Luke Skywalker is, and even if you haven't, you do. Backstory, characters, cliche, conflict, conventions and tropes, descriptions. It's really important when we look at the different elements, the dialect, dialogue, and things like that, that we try to make sure that the things that are up here are actually going on the paper or on the screen. That's been one of the things that I've had to really pay attention to, being a beginner writer, is that I know what I see and what I want to get onto the page, but when someone else reads my work, that sometimes doesn't translate. So I've really tried to take a proactive approach to doing that, making sure that if I think that if the character, for example, has blue eyes, that it's mentioned at least somewhere, so the person reading who didn't write the story knows that I meant for that character to have blue eyes. The difference between craft and writing elements, obviously the writing elements are spelling, grammar, punctuation, the actual mechanics of the writing, the syntax, things like that, where the craft elements are actually everything else related to the writing. One of the things I wanted to mention before I conclude here is there's this Turkey City Lexicon, which is a primer for science fiction workshops, edited by Louis Shiner and Bruce Sterling from the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America. This little piece of paper here, actually it's not little, it's about 11 pages, but it helps me. I have 5 or 6 copies sitting around everywhere where I write, and it just gives me little hints and little clues and things to avoid and things to make sure I'm including. So if you look at sfwa.com and type in Turkey City Lexicon, I think it's something that would be helpful to all of us here in the class. So looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say, and we'll talk to you again soon.